So, finally got settled in my new place. It only took 4 months. Figured everything out, had a little extra money, got some new equipment, set myself up, figured out how to do this whole recording thing. So, I'm finally coming back. I know I promised to do this a long time ago. It's been rather difficult, but I started streaming first because that's really easy. No editing, no multiple takes, because that's how I do this. One take, multiple times. I promised I'd talk about my favorite conspiracy theory, and it gave me this cool idea for a kind of new series. We'll see how it goes, see what happens with it. Now that I'm demonetized, so let's start with this. COVID-19, great. Now that I'm demonetized, let's talk about it. So, start with my favorite conspiracy theory, so all my fans over on Twitch can get their answer and go home. Hopefully, y'all stay, but it is what it is. Right now, as it's what April 12th, 2020. A couple days ago, CDC being they told us that we should probably start wearing masks. That's kind of a full reversal on what they were saying, that masks weren't really effective for the general population. Now, all of a sudden, they are. Everyone's wearing masks. My job is going to start requiring that we wear masks. It looks like, and it got me wondering, like, why this sudden reversal? I understand, science changes, understanding changes. I'm not going to sit here and necessarily blame anybody for what could be a simple logical explanation, but you're here to hear a fun conspiracy theory, not simple explanations. So, I was talking with some coworkers, trying to figure stuff out, and we all kind of agreed it's a little bit strange that right around the time where we are sanitizing masks, all these companies are starting to ramp up production. It seems like for the majority of places, either we're hitting peak or we have a decent supply of masks going around. Um, that now the CDC has changed their opinion and told us all when we go outside to go shopping, we should probably at least consider wearing a mask, even if it's not like the good ones, at least something covering your face, which is an absolute complete reversal. And we were wondering why, because it seems like, first off, it seems pretty logical that wearing a mask would help generally, if not 100% effective, at least to some degree. So we kind of got to thinking maybe the CDC intentionally lied because we're all freaking morons who buy way too much toilet paper. Had they sat there and told us, hey, masks will really help save your life if you get sick. You probably won't get sick if you wear a mask. Everyone's going to buy more masks than they need, just like they did with toilet paper or, anything else. It makes a lot of sense, especially now that things seem a little bit more stable, not 100%, that they then release the truth to us. I still don't think they're 100% effective. If you kind of think about it too, the medical staff actually needs them versus you or I who aren't at a great risk in general, depending on where you live. If you live in a city, maybe a lot more. I live in a more rural area, so it's not as necessary. It's pretty easy to stay 6 feet away from people. Bathrooms are readily available. I can wash my hands as much as I realistically want. So I think they intentionally lied to us to protect the medical workers. And that's kind of twofold. It's actually a smart thing because if you have, by what I can kind of see, is 20% of people requiring, up to 20% of people requiring some level of hospitalization. Think of the medical workers who are already in short demand right now. We haven't quite crumbled like Italy, but we're getting close in some areas for sure. Um, 20% of them having to be in the hospital, then potentially having to stay 2 weeks out would be an absolute disaster. So, under this conspiracy theory, it's actually a good thing that they lied to us because had they told us the truth, all these medical workers would be getting sick, potentially dying, definitely going down for a bit, not being able to help others. So, there's that. Secondly, I kind of want to talk about from what I've personally seen and researched. on like the infectiousness of COVID-19. Again, I'm not a medical professional. If you're taking your medical advice from some guy who streams games on YouTube, you're probably an idiot, and you already drank fish tank cleaner to begin with. So this warning isn't going to help you, but I'm going to give it anyway. Don't take my medical advice. Listen to the CDC. Listen to people you trust. Talk to your doctor. Whatever. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into it. Seems like, unlike a lot of other viruses, this particular coronavirus, if not most, hang around a lot longer on surfaces. And because y'all don't wash your hands, I'm guilty of it too. And then you eat food, you do whatever, you pick your teeth, you rub your eyes, you're going to get sick. The mask isn't going to help you from getting sick. And that's really important that you mentally think of this. It's going to save other people from getting sick from you when you cough because you didn't cover your mouth properly. It's going to save other people from when you cough on your hand or your arm rubbing against something else and then they touch it. What's really going to help is you washing your hands a lot. For the gun owners out there, I use this analogy. You got three rules for gun safety. You have, don't point it anywhere that you don't intend on destroying. Realistically, you cannot do that 100% of the time unless it's always pointed at something you want to destroy at all times. You never use it, you never shoot it, you never transport it, you never clean it. It just sits there. It's kind of unrealistic. Second rule kind of helps mitigate when you have to break the first rule, which is keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. If you did both of those things, 90% of the time, 99-ish% of gun accidents would not happen. Now, there's a third rule that's just to kind of cover. It's not super effective, but it does help. Always assume a gun is loaded. And the way I'm kind of seeing the safety precautions is, wash your hands is the 100% effective thing. If you do that every time, you almost would never get sick short of someone coughing in your face. Secondarily, you got the 6 feet distance ruling, right? You stay 6 feet away from people. They're not going to cough on you very likely. It's to help overlap when you don't wash your hands. Also keeps things in your mind. Lastly is, you don't leave the house unless you have to, and you wear a mask when you are. That's only going to be somewhat marginally effective because we've all seen the memes on Facebook or whatever of the people like biting their gloves or picking their nose under their mask and doing all this other stuff. It just helps cover. If you're doing the first two things pretty well, that last part will really help cover things that are kind of outside of your control or when you eventually inevitably do slip up. And so it's really important to kind of think of it in that sense. Washing your hands should be the most important thing. Staying away from people should be something that you try to do. And wearing a mask is something that you should consider doing, especially if you feel like you're in a place where it might be dangerous, like an office building or you're going to the hospital. Don't go overboard. Everyone try to stay calm. Even though the media is going to sit there and tell you the death rates look really bad, that's a little wonky on the reports. Who knows what's true right now? It seems like most people who are really getting sick are over 40, and most of them do have some underlying health conditions. I'll tell you the truth, I'm overweight. I have underlying health conditions. I vape. That's probably going to be a contributing factor as well. Smoking. So don't sit there and think you're invincible, but also in the same token, we're not in Italy, so you're going to be able to get help. Anyway, I hope you all can get back to work as soon as possible. I hope that this doesn't affect you personally. Um, if it does, I'm sorry. Don't think I'm trying to make light of it, but I don't want people to panic. I don't want people to go out and buy a million masks and do some stupid stuff. I think panic is always the worst way to respond to something. When you're able to make a calm and rational decision and make some slight changes in your life, will do much better, especially, again, as of 4/12, 2020. Looks like people might start slowly getting released to go back to work and things might start slowly getting going. I'm looking forward to that. even though I'm getting a little bit of a bump in my personal job, and that might go away once this stops, I think people still need to make some money. Anyway, appreciate you guys staying for the whole 10 minutes. You have a good day. Stay safe. Wash your damn hands. Peace out.